I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. All right, everybody. Let's welcome back. Mix What I Like Live, Black Power Media. Again, I'm happy to be here. Jared Ball playing host. Thanks again to Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows and Tiny Gray Garcia for coming through so far this morning. Thanks to all of you who will see this here now and those who will see it later. Appreciate all of you. Please do continue to click the like, join, subscribe, and the bell to get notifications whenever any of us do work here at Black Power Media. A lot more is coming. The Remix Morning Show is coming back, of course, tomorrow and throughout the week. Warrior Class dropped this weekend. Sundays dropped this weekend. Uncle Devin's Children's Morning Show is starting this coming Saturday morning. The Within Our Gates crew is coming. I mean, there's so much more coming, and then we're also trying to continue to expand so we can do some original investigative journalism and documentary. So whatever you can do to support is helping to build all of that work. So we really appreciate it. There were a couple other things that I would like to get to this morning, just very quickly. And I was kind of hoping Todd would be here for this, but it was maybe good that he couldn't be, because there's no need to drag him down. So the first thing is I want to say I want a belated and another thanks and an offer of gratitude to Brother Sinclair Skinner for inviting me to this past weekend's blockchain, crypto, and Black People Summit that was convened via Howard University up the street here in Washington, D.C. Greatly appreciate having been invited to that. Again, we all, for the most part, the people presenting and I don't agree politically or on this issue of crypto and blockchain. But what I really appreciate about what Brother Skinner did was that he encouraged those on that side to hear from those of us on this side and vice versa. And I think that is important that we engage one another and go into spaces where we're not necessarily comfortable or getting a home court advantage. And it was great. And I appreciate it. Again, I think that there are a lot of problems with what, obviously, we'll continue to do videos on that. Please go see the ones we've done already on this issue, cryptocurrency and whatnot. As I said during the conference, it's a Ponzi scheme. It is not something the collective can use. Technology and currency are not what has caused poverty and inequality, are not going to end poverty and inequality for the collective. And more broadly speaking, I do think more has to be done, and I need to do more to I think more aggressively confront not only this notion of Black capitalism, but how it's often redefined and rebranded through Black entrepreneurial and business endeavor. And as a few more within the nationalist community engage even some of my work a little bit, I hope that we can have some conversations around where some of our luminaries are and have been on the issues of buying power, the economy, Black capitalism, and now some moving into crypto and other, areas I think that are mythological. But I think that there needs to be more to confront some of these ideas and the way that they are at times claimed to be being used for the collective, but they're really not. And then even when they are, the shortcomings there, as is the case, and we'll come back to this, I'm sure, around my criticism on the issue of buying power only of people like Dr. Amos Wilson, Du Bois, Garvey, and so on. But there's So just one point, I remember this one brother suggested that people like me need to do more to study crypto and blockchain because we don't understand it. And my with all due respect, suggest that it's not that I don't understand blockchain and crypto. It's that people who are attempting to apply that to our situation have not, I think, done sufficient study into how the economy works or what our relationship is to it. So, um, but we'll continue to. All right, but a couple of other things here also. And there are two issues, and I'm just going to categorize these two issues as I don't know currently what to do with them. It's not that I'm not clear where I stand, it's that I don't know exactly how to make positive use of where I stand. So I'm just going to step out here a little bit because this was sent to me the other day, and it's a story that is I've seen. There's one came out in the Washington Post as well about Haile Gerima being feted by Hollywood after living his life in opposition to it, and uh, this is what this is the crux of it. This is the crux of it, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Dr. Burroughs. This is why I was, kind of hoping he could stick around, but then again, maybe not, because I don't know if anybody wants to be stuck with me on this one, even in disagreement by association. Now, I've admitted before, I got, I do have a couple of I do have some bias here, some personal even history here, some years of engagement with the space bias here. But what bothers me about this in the piece I saw in the Washington Post, basically saying the same thing, is that here come these dominant institutions wanting to pay tribute to Haile Gerima. And why? And why now? And when I see this, that it's connected to Ava DuVernay and her distribution company and her relationship to Netflix, and then bringing Sankofa back, I'm like, here we go again. And now I know a lot of people, the argument is often we get Sankofa on Netflix. That has to be a net positive, pun intended. And some would, I'm sure, say, whatever you want to think about Ava, former PR rep to Oprah Winfrey. Um, my personal thing is the film Selma, which I just have. You take Kwame Ture, you completely erase him. That's just inexcusable to me. The 13th documentary, I wrote about that a little bit at imixwhatilike.org. Had serious problems with that documentary, but along the same lines, you're presenting problems that are major problems: mass incarceration, the history, of black people in this country, and on some level they're being discussed, but how are they being framed? Now here we have Sankofa being brought back by Ava DuVernay. So even if people read that film as revolutionary, what does it mean to have a revolutionary film remastered or whatever, stepped up and then redelivered on Netflix, presented by Ava DuVernay? To me, it feels like another attempt to co-opt what is too big to fail. And again, I have criticisms of the film Sankofa. I have criticisms of its filmmaker. But there are some, and at some point, I think we should do this. Maybe have another watching of the film and go back into some of the academic, going back to some of the discussion of Ken Burns. There are some brilliant academic argument and critique around and discussion around Sankofa that even a lot of people who have seen the film have never really engaged, certainly not publicly. So maybe this would be a great time for I and we to do that here. Um, yeah, maybe that would, I think that's a great idea. But what does it mean if the film, even if read as revolutionary, is brought back in this context? I honestly don't know. It is troublesome to me that people who have clearly positioned themselves as to me, in my humble opinion, as mainstream liberal black performers like Ava DuVernay, who have put a very liberal and even conservative veneer over radical politics and histories. What does it mean to present the film, even if it's presented unblemished, so to speak? I don't know. It feels funky to me, and I don't know honestly. I honestly don't know what to do about that. Um, yeah. It's not just that Selma was forgettable. It's that Selma erased and made forgettable Kwame Ture, which I think is meant to make forgettable the radical trajectories in that history. I mean, I thought it was inexcusable. The 13th as a documentary, which was another piece I paid a lot of attention to from DuVernay, was I thought and still think it was a pro Hillary campaign piece that damages the discussion around mass incarceration. So I'm not really sure what to do with this, and and I acknowledge that I have my own biases, as I've said before, around Garima and even that film. But this part doesn't sit right with me. And so I don't know what's going on here. And Garima talks about how much he loves Ava or appreciates her and they like each other and all this. And I'm like, how? Why? How? What does that mean if your whole career has been about making the films that tell the stories that the mainstream cannot tell, that you're in contradistinction to, you're even in a combative relationship with, and then here she comes like she is the so I don't know. I don't. So that was that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So I just wanted to throw that one out there, and then this other piece I'd like us to take a look at. Oh no, I forgot there is this other piece, and I did want to share this one because this news broke the other day, and this does hit home. I cannot front. Morgan State professor alleges pay discrimination. Educator says in lawsuit that black female faculty treated as second-class citizens. Um, Dr. Leah Hollis, Professor Leah Hollis has built a career studying workplace bullying in higher education, examining how it affects women and people of color. At Morgan State University, she alleges in a lawsuit she experienced that subject firsthand. In a complaint filed this summer, Hollis says the school has paid her tens of thousands of dollars less than men in her department, despite credentials that parallel or exceed those of her male colleagues, and then denied her tenure and blocked her promotion to full professor when she complained about unequal pay. Um, Pay inequality in Morgan has been discussed for a long time, for years now. They've had studies conducted. Um, In fact, does this story reference the recent study that was conducted? Yeah, in 2019, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission found there was, quote, reasonable cause to believe that the university had discriminated against Hollis on the basis of sex and subjected her to unequal pay in violation of the Federal Equal Pay Act. No, there was a study, but there was a specific study that Morgan conducted or had conducted on this issue, and it did show that women were not paid in. Let's see. Francois believed Maryland's historically black when the director of civil rights clinic, however, she was among the first attorneys to bring a lawsuit. Okay, now that led to something else. Well, let's see. Hollis first filed a lawsuit in 2019 and amended it this summer. According to the lawsuit, Morgan hired her in 2014 as an assistant professor in the Department of Advanced Studies, Leadership and Policy at the non-negotiable salary of $60,000. Well, good for her, because she got herself started off higher than I did. And this is not to suggest there's anything wrong with her suit and that I'm not giving benefits as a man. I'm just saying that I'm just see it as she started off good for her. At the time, she had a decade of teaching experience at the doctoral level and chaired several dissertation committees, had written 3 books and co-authored a 4th. Today, she makes $63,000, less than every male professor in her department, including those at lower ranks and those hired after her, according to the lawsuit. The lawsuit includes a chart showing 10 men whose salaries range from $64,000 to $103,000. That is messed up. She started above me, albeit in 2014. So so Morgan hired her. So she's been there for 7 years. I've been there. This is my 17th year. But so I started in 2006 at 50. And now actually there's some discrepancy about I might be confused about what I'm making. I'm making more than that. Not much, but I am making more than that. And so that alone, I get it. I've been there longer. I did get promoted to full professor, although that had no impact on my salary. No, I'm sorry. It had, I think, a 1 or 2%. No, like a 1% raise, something. But I did get to full professor. Now, one day we should maybe talk more about how that process went, because that was a funky process as well. And it also has not led to any significant pay increase or privilege or respect or acknowledgement or anything. But I do make more than her. So that's crazy. And I did look it up because I was on I have been following this, behind the scenes a little bit. And I have reached out to Dr. Hollis. I hope to hear from her. And I've reached out to her, separately a couple of times, just in general solidarity, because I know how difficult it is to deal with all of this. I don't know her, but when I did see that this was going on, I did reach out just to say, well, separately, but also to say I'd love to do an interview with you if ever that's possible, but also that just separately, in solidarity, though I don't know you. But in one of the exchanges that she sent, and I'm forgetting where this score was, but she had some what is it? Is it Google Scholar ranking? It might have been that. And I don't remember the numbers. I just remember she blows me out of the water. So I acknowledge. So as an academic, she's produced more than me academically. Her ranking on the Google Scholar thing blows me out of the water. That's the only thing I remember. She's significantly higher rated, but she's paid less than me. Significant. I mean, it's not a lot, but it is significantly less. And that it be less at all, it seems unfair. The only thing I have over her is seniority in terms of time in at Morgan. But I don't equate to her in terms of her actual what would be considered traditional academic output. I think if the only argument I can make is if you start to account for things beyond traditional academia. But there, what seems to be happening to her seems wildly unfair. And I would have to say, with my own experience, personally speaking, it seems consistent that people who raise certain concerns and make themselves known to have concerns seem to run into some of these issues. So, look, the university has known for a while that there's not only issues of what was being described as pay compression, broadly speaking. This has been going on for years and has been openly discussed within the university, that there are issues with, again, never mind gender, but just where people with certain levels of seniority are paid vis-a-vis new hires. or where certain or standards of promotion are unclear, or where pay raises seem arbitrarily applied without a clear standard as well. And then specifically on the issue of gender, that there was this study done, and I'll have to try to find it, see if I can find it and follow up on this. I forgot the details, but it showed that I think the conclusions were that women over time have been paid unequally vis-a-vis men. So in addition to the general pay compression, there was this issue of the gender inequality. Now, I don't know the details. I don't know her field, but Dr. Hollis on paper, when seems to have met every, yeah. Oh yeah, no, we're definitely not democratic. Now, that's funny. Oh wait, no, I missed it. That's not the right one. No, that's false. No. Now, I mean, relatively speaking, I'm good, and I married up. But balling, no. But relatively speaking to the academic world, I'm definitely not balling. And what's happening to Dr. Hollis is wildly unjust. That in 7 years that she only be making that much more than she was before is crazy. And then her work rate seems past the point of question. So I would hope that all right, so that's yeah. Now there is this other thing I want to see. So if we're doing this, if we're calling this like broadly speaking, the segment of I don't know what to do with this stuff. So including the Ava DuVernay Haile Gerima piece and the Dr. Hollis at Morgan State piece, or this next one. So let's take a couple. This is from a YouTube channel called Black Femininity TV, and I'm just playing you a clip of her really, I think, important and interesting and funny piece on the worst Black biopics ever. For something she says that may or may not obviously resonate with me, but I'm very interested in what you think about.
Actress and dancer Zendaya was chosen to star in Lifetime's original movie after she was seen paying homage to the singer a few times. Zendaya was set to record 4 of Aaliyah's songs for the film. This decision caused intense backlash because Zendaya is a light-skinned biracial girl who looks absolutely nothing like the singer, and some people argued that Zendaya did not have the vocal range to match Aaliyah. The producers apparently thought that all you needed was a side part and baggy clothes to portray singer Aaliyah. Zendaya exited the film following backlash from family and fans, and then another biracial actress named Alexandra Shipp, who's not related to Demetrius Shipp Jr., was announced to play the role of Aaliyah, causing even more backlash. The oh-so-messy Wendy Williams really wanted the film to happen, so she stepped in as executive producer. So let's start by taking a look at the cast, which mainly consists of biracial actors. Aaliyah and her brother Rashad weren't dark-skinned, but they also didn't look mixed or biracial. So the casting of mixed-race actors for younger Aaliyah, younger Rashad, adult Aaliyah, and adult Rashad is very confusing. The actors cast to play Missy Elliott and Timbaland were also pretty light in complexion. But I'm sure most Black people are very aware of the biracial fetish that Hollywood has. But that's a totally different video.
So Yeah, and to my knowledge, she has not done that video yet. I'm very interested to see what she does with that video. But it was something that obviously, or not, is of interest to me. And I was curious at what she was saying there. So as I've talked about before here and with Brother Netfa on his show, I feel that there's also a similar, maybe not just with Hollywood, but a general broader marketing push over the last few years, a fetishization of biraciality or mixed race folks and interracial relationships. But my point was and is that this is being done largely to further dissolve any notion of a black community or any radical notion of a black extended family or radical analyses of race and class, and obviously part of a grander project to project the United States as this advancing, all open and welcoming entity. This feels like she's saying there needs to be a separation between black and biracial, because she later equates or seems to equate in her criticism, her justified criticism of what's her name, who played Nina Simone in that horrific movie. I only made it 10 minutes in. The Latina. Somebody in the chat help me out. What's her name? She's in all these movies. Anyway, but she's saying that somebody in the chat will get there in a second, or when my chat catches up, I'll see it, I'm sure. But because she also seems to equate the issue of biracial actors playing black actors with light-skinned Latinas playing dark-skinned black women. Zoe Saldana, thank you. Which was horrific, and obviously should I'm not. But my point is that where my question was when I was watching that, is that where we are? I I know there's been a change. I've felt it. I've seen it. There's even research some that I've seen that suggests this. For instance, 10 years ago, and to me, this was for me the turning point or a turning point. There was a Pew Research study that came out that said that the historical tendency of light-skinned black people to pass as white had been replaced by the new trend of mixed race black people passing as exclusively black. Personally, which I know is always dangerous to go into personal anecdote, and I often try to avoid this. My experience was especially when I had to Tiny Gray's point earlier, when I was less melaninly challenged and had hair, I felt it impossible to be like, I never felt that even if I wanted it, that there was an option to pass for white. And I was often denied even the option to pass for mixed. Now, I know part of that was the the socio-political cultural moment that was in the 70s and early 80s, where it was, black or white, and one drop was black, and all of that. And also, I was not as ambiguous looking then as I am now. But communally, it was always felt like if there was a problem I had with black people, it was when there was a feeling that I was not doing enough to accept the blackness or my blackness. That was the only time that I ever felt personally like there was some sort of question. It wasn't ever you can't be. It was, why aren't you? Like, how could you not? How dare you not? You must accept your blackness and your black identity and the politics and the radicalness. Now, some of this again is encouraged, my the personal situation and how I was raised. Some of that is that, but it felt that way from the outside world as well. Now it seems that there has been a shift. I've thought it was encouraged. I felt it has been encouraged from those in power who have always wanted to dissolve any black unity and to do anything possible to take, if not light skinned, but certainly mixed folks and separate and have us perform and behave and see ourselves as distinct. But this was just interesting to me. The idea that I get it if they don't look anything like it, but I would have never thought of there. So now we can only have, I don't know, like I would not have made or thought to make the distinction between light skinned black and mixed black, as long as the mixture is black, because that's the other thing. Going back to the work with Raylena Joseph, mixed race African American, like there, as long as we're in that, So anyway, I just thought that was that was interesting, and it seems so. I'm all for critical investigation. I'm all for people being checked and checking privilege and checking this and checking that. I'm all for check. But again, just like I keep trying to argue it separately, if the black business creation is, as to borrow from my man Davon Love in a conversation we were having, is meant as an incubator for radical activity and politics, absolutely. If Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, neo-colonially established Ghana, was meant to incubate Pan-African revolution, that's one thing. If just because the Muhammad Ali thing, if Mobutu's Zaire is meant to incubate European colonialism and imperialism, obviously that formation is different. So if I get the, so if the purpose of the critique of mixed race or light skin or whatever black behavior or performance is to check the absence of Pan-African radical consciousness, that's one thing. If the criticism is to say you aren't really part of this group anymore, or you aren't down, or you are automatically more suspicious as a traitor, I think then we have to have another conversation. Because as I've had, lovingly with a few of my full-blooded, dark-skinned African brothers, in particular, sisters, I don't think I've had this particular argument with. I don't think there's any historical evidence to suggest that mulattoes are automatically more prone, and I don't really accept that word, I'm just using that facetiously, but that those of us who are so-called mixed are automatically more prone to treachery than those who are fully blooded, so-called. There seems to be a lot of treachery across the board that is not measured in melanin levels. But my point is, if the checking is for that purpose, that's cool. But if the checking is because now it feels like it's being argued in certain spaces, mixed race isn't black anymore, and therefore it needs its own, I don't know. I'm less comfortable with that. That would mean a new, that doesn't mean it's wrong. I think it is, but doesn't mean it is just because I'm uncomfortable. It just means I'm uncomfortable, and I'd like to check back with that and see what's what with that. Anyway. But I thought that was interesting. The rest of the thing was really good. I mean, I'm not even saying that was bad, but I think what she was doing there in that video was really good in terms of looking at these black biopics that are just a mess. Let's see. Okay. I think that's it. That was it for me. I know I've gone a little long today. I do want to come back not one more time, but again, before I leave, and just not only to thank all of you again for joining me and us this morning, but also to again encourage that folks support our dear Katia Stitt again, as even in a general act of showing some love and concern and support for those you don't know and never hear of, and who don't get on anybody's radar. But who do constant good work for people in the community, who do constant good work for people that they work with. And I have to say again, as someone who has shown me unyielding support over a long period of time, this is the minimum for me, what I can do to try to encourage the people, help her get to the health care she needs. So I will again drop the link to this and to support Katia Stitt in the chat, and hopefully folks will spread the word, drop a couple more dollars, and help her and the many who don't get enough attention and all that good stuff. So all right, good people, that's gonna do it for me. Tomorrow I don't know, straight up, I reached out and I was like, I turn 50 tomorrow. I'm gonna be on the Remix Morning Show, and I would like for there to be some sort of something. You know what I'm saying? I feel a kind of way. I don't usually get this way about my birthday anymore, but 50 feels like a little bit of something. Unfortunately, we've seen too many people not make it to 50. Unfortunately, we see too many people that get past 50 are crawling across the finish line, so to speak. We obviously seen too many of our great ones turning 50 behind prison walls and left there well beyond their 50th. I think a lot of us over the last couple of years, there's been we've lost a lot of people that mean something to us indirectly, that means something to us very directly, in our families, our loved ones. So this one feels a little different. That's why I made sure, even in this moment, to have a little gathering with some special people. So shout out to all of them, especially to my 00 Africans who never want any acknowledgement for anything, but who come through when asked. Big shout out to the Vibe Band who did their thing and let me get into the pocket a little bit last weekend. And I invite you all who would normally be there anyway to come on through, because I'm hoping it's gonna be some sort of special birthday remix morning show tomorrow. I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, and for those who will see this later, those who have seen this now, definitely appreciate you once again. And like the good folks at Comedy Hype, if we didn't hear from you, we do come back through later, so make sure to
put it in the comments.
And I'll catch you next time here at I Mix What I Like Live, Black Power Media. Like the big homie, legendary Fred Hampton used to say, peace if you're willing to fight for it, because I know you all are. And we'll catch you next time here at I Mix What I Like, Black Power Media. Peace, everybody.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.